Honestly, Migration, more like a cinematic defecation across the screen. This latest attempt at capturing the profundity of human displacement transforms what could have been a delicate tapestry of poignant storytelling into an insult to celluloid, an overproduced heap of melodramatic tripe that can't decide if it's a wannabe Oscar bait or a lifetime original on a budget that's drunk with its self-importance. Let's begin with the opening shot, a shameless reference to the magic of The Searcher's opening sequence with its iconic frame within the frame. Except here it's more akin to a Walmart version of John Ford's mastery, the kind of shot that screams, "Look at me, I'm so cinematic," without any substance to back it up. Your middle school nephew with his dad's camcorder and a fog machine could have set a more compelling scene. Cinematography that can only be described as desperately pretentious, aping the styles of Tarkovsky and Malick with none of their grasp on visual poetry. Every camera movement mimics a drunken waltz, less the tree of life, more the tree of laughably forced. And don't get me started on the performances, or should I say, the collective wooden marionette show that we're subjected to. Here we have actors who clearly ingested every page of the Stanislavski book, only to vomit it out in a display that's as authentic as a designer bag from a street vendor. One particular scene that burrows into the brain like a parasitic earwig involves the protagonist tearfully gazing into the sunset, a sunset so orange you'd wonder if they're actually staring at a green screen or the aftermath of a Cheetos explosion. Moving to the narrative, a plot so thin it makes the paper-thin characters of Twilight seem like a Dostoevsky ensemble. Our characters shuffle from one manufactured crisis to another, chasing after emotional responses from the audience with the subtlety of a chainsaw. It's as if the director pulled the conflict lever and scattered obstacles like birdseed without any understanding of thematic weight or narrative cohesion. I'd rather endure a marathon of Michael Bay's Transformers with the explosions on mute than be subjected to another minute of Migration's sound design. It's as though they hired the Foley artist minutes before production, slapped them on the back, and said, "Just whack things together, mate. It's edgy, the music score. Oh, the score. It's a metallic symphony composed by a sentient Spotify algorithm set to predictable melodrama. It swells and swoons at the most eye-roll-inducing moments. There's a scene where the score crescendos as a child picks up a rock for crying out loud, and the music is so dramatic you'd think they'd discovered the Rosetta Stone rather than a pebble from the director's aquarium. Spare a thought for the editor, who must have been sifting through hours of chaff to find even the most minuscule grain of storytelling wheat. The pacing zigzags so fiercely, you'd think the footage was edited with a chainsaw. 1 second molasses, the next hyperdrive to the point of narrative whiplash. By the time the climactic sequence hobbily approaches, with the subtlety of a sledgehammer wrapped in tin foil, you've become so numbed by the contrived emotional manipulation that even M. Night Shyamalan would have whispered from the back row, "Bit much, eh?" Migration isn't a movie. It's an endurance test, a cruel joke played on the art of cinema. It's as if the filmmaker banged their head against a Criterion Collection box set until inspiration fell out, only to cobble together this cinematic Frankenstein's monster. It's a tragedy, not of narrative, but for every film lover who's endured this procession of moving images, pretending to offer depth while plunging to Mariana Trench levels of low. We deserved better. Our eyeballs deserved better. The ancestors of cinema are rolling in their graves, and the popcorn has gone stale with disappointment. Save yourself the torture. Or better yet, go watch Plan 9 from Outer Space to remind yourself how even the worst can become a cult classic, unlike Migration, which will surely migrate into obscurity where it rightfully belongs.